Draymond Green, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, so close to triple-double, and he's got a little helper with him at the podium.
You were kind of at the, I guess, decision point of putting Looney in the starting lineup. Why did you think that was the right move? And then can you just talk about what he gave tonight?
I just thought we were getting physically dominated, and I know the worry was the offensive end and just how they were guarding, but we were getting dominated from the start. Like, when you look at the last 8 quarters prior to this game, we got dominated for 7 of them. In the fourth quarter of Game 4, we just pulled the game out because of Steph Curry's greatness. And so we just knew we needed to come out and establish an inside presence to start the game off and not worry so much about our scoring. And, we'll figure out how to score the basketball, but we needed to establish an inside presence because they made it clear that's what they were trying to do. They made it clear that they were going to beat us up, and they were doing a good job of it. And inserting Loon back into the lineup changed that.
Did you know that Andrew Wiggins was going to have it this tonight, and what did you see from him, especially down the finish?
I thought he would have a good game because the reality is he's been playing very well throughout this playoff run, and he last game it wasn't one of his best, and so I knew that he'd come out and he'd have a big game, and I mean he was amazing on both sides of the ball. Tyus Jones, 2 for 12. Tyus Jones had been hurting us the last couple games, and he took him out of the game. The way he rebounded the basketball, the way he protected the rim, he was absolutely incredible. So it wasn't shocking at all.
Draymond, as a close friend of Klay Thompson, what does it mean to you to see him out there throwing up the 6, back in his element after what he's been through?
It means everything. We went on a 2-year hiatus from the playoffs, and in large part due to his absence, and what he brings to the table. And I know for most people that's three-point shooting. For us, that's a competitive edge that no one else on this team has, and I know I get a lot of the credit for that side of things and just bringing the intensity, but like I tell y'all all the time, one of the toughest guys and most competitive guys I've ever played with. And probably the toughest and most competitive player I've ever played with. And it showed up tonight. You knew right away he was coming out fire. And 11 for 22, 8 for 14 from 3. It's great to see. 8 rebounds. He's been rebounding all playoffs. 3 block shots. He was all over the place. It was beautiful game.
Draymond, I have 2 questions for you. One, you said you needed a bigger presence inside. You guys had 70 rebounds. How do you think you performed in that area?
I thought it was great. And like I said, in large part due to Loon. But you look across the board, 11 rebounds, 15, 22, 8, and 7. I mean, it don't get much better than that. That's just your starting lineup alone. So it doesn't get much better than that. And we needed to establish that inside. I'm exhausted, by the way. I am exhausted. But we needed to establish that. And, I told myself for multiple days that I was going to come in this press conference and talk about their gritty and their whoop that trick and everything else, and the only thing I can do is give my respect to that team. They earned that. There was a lot of talk in this series of fouls and this and that, and this should be reviewed and that should be reviewed, and I think it really started to take away from what was a great series with 2 amazing teams. And so, that team, that's a group of young guys who, obviously you get to the business side of things and you got to keep that together. But, that's a group of young guys that they're hungry, they're talented, they're athletic. They got it. And, it'll be good to see their progression over these next few years and where they can take it, because that's an incredible young team, man. You know, they can be special. They can be really special.
Draymond, you had 14, 15, and 8. I know you're not a numbers guy, but you brought the afterburners from the jump. How important was it for you to bring that energy from the jump? How much of that was a response to Game 5 and not wanting a Game 7?
I didn't want to get back on a plane. That was one underrated thing in this series is a 4.5-hour flight, which was brutal. So I just didn't want to get back on a plane. And, you know, it was less about playing in Memphis and more about getting on the 4.5-hour flight. Like, I just didn't want to get on. And then, you know, something came to my phone earlier. A guy saying I'm scared to shoot the basketball. Scared and me in the same senses is like brutal, you know. But you got a big ogre on TV talking about what Draymond say ain't the gospel. It is the gospel. What I say is the gospel. And, you know, when you say that multiple times, like on several different segments, you must think what I say the gospel. So, you know, you got to come out and shut some guys up sometimes. And you know, I like to show, you know, when you got people out there just talking out the side of their neck, you know, or anybody can make the pass Draymond make, like, that's just stupid. I mean, like, these are people who get employed to talk on TV about our game. And, you know, it's anybody can make that pass. You make that pass. We would love to see it. I played against the guy, by the way. I'm talking about Kendrick Perkins, for those of y'all that don't know. I'm never ducking no smoke. As the Memphis Grizzlies towels say, I don't duck smoke. Like, anybody can make that pass. Like, you couldn't, so good luck. So, you know, you just got to come out and shut people up sometimes. And it was very fun to do.
Kevon finished with 22 rebounds. I think he put a career high in minutes, including, I think, the last 17. Looked exhausted at times, but was getting huge rebounds. Just what can you say about his performance tonight?
It was absolutely incredible. You know, we always talk about Loon being the ultimate true professional, and this series went away from him. And last series too. And yeah, he stayed ready, and that's, you know, I give a lot of credit to our coaching staff for trusting in us. You know, we've had countless conversations with Steve and Mike and, you know, our entire staff and really trying to figure this out. You know, like, this was not an easy series. And then when Ja went down, you know, we realized after last game, like, we have to almost adjust as if we're starting an entirely different series, because that was a totally different team we played against the last, 3 games? 2 games. 3 games. It's a totally different team. And so, I mean, Kevon is, you know, he's been one of those guys that has been a mainstay in everything that we do. And no matter at any point in his career when his number's been called, he's been ready. And he delivered tonight in a major way. And, you know, we knew we couldn't do it without him, which is why, you know, we were lobbying for him to get back into the starting lineup, and he came through.
Draymond, what's it mean to be back in the Western Conference Finals?
You know, I used to take it for granted and just think that, like, that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, like, we're supposed to make the Western Conference Finals, and the reality is I still think that, but I have a much deeper appreciation for it. It's just so hard, and it feels like each time it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. And, you know, to miss the playoffs the last 2 years, like, I remember sitting in Cabo last year watching the playoffs, and don't get me wrong, I love Cabo. It was great to be in that place watching the playoffs, but it's brutal watching. And, you know, to make it back here and, you know, after the last 2 years that we've had and the dynasty over talks and, you know, all that nonsense, this one feels good. But in saying that, we know how tough the next round is going to be. It gets tougher as you go. But, you know, that's you accept that challenge, and we're looking forward to it. But it feels good to be back after, you go 2 years of type of basketball we was playing, and you're not so certain that you're going to get back, but to put it all together, it's really good to be back.
Hey, Draymond, what jumped out to you with the atmosphere tonight at Chase, and do you think this was the loudest you've heard the fans in the arena?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry. DJ just told me you're not scared to shoot the basketball.
I was asking what jumped out to you with the atmosphere here at Chase tonight. Do you think this was the loudest you've
Definitely
ever
was the loudest. And I think, these fans knew what we were up against. We're going to Memphis and getting whooped that tricked. And, like I said before, I appreciated the Memphis crowd. They were great, and they brought it, and, they made it a very fun place to play. But tonight, our fans, they brought it from the very beginning of the game. I had some friends. Xander was texting me, and he's like, "Hey, man, get the win. I'll be right behind the bench after." But the place is going to be loud, man. I'm telling you, and to come out and it was the loudest I've ever heard it. It's special, and we've all talked about the home court advantage and how this is an oracle, and you have to reestablish that home court, and I think we're doing a good job of it. But our fans were absolutely incredible tonight, and it took everything we had to win that game, and including the fan support and the noise that was in the arena.
Draymond, assuming this is Mike's last game in this stretch, replacing Steve, how do you feel about the job he's done under the circumstances, and what are your hopes from him after this? I
thought he's done an incredible job, and dating back to 2000 and what was that, 18 or 17. When that happened, he just got thrust into the fire. It's like, oh man, coach is here. Then one day it's like, yo, coach can't go. Mike got to sub in, and he's been incredible. He was incredible then. And then to find out right before Game 4 that you're going to be leading this team, he's handled it well. And I give Mike a lot of credit. He's been the solidest guy that we've had in this organization over the past 6 years, and it's shown, and it's shown for us across the board all the time. But when he's had to step up to the challenge and take over the reins, it's shown as well. One of the more prepared coaches I've ever been around, and he embraces the challenge. And we, like you said, if this is his last time coaching us, from that standpoint, you want to do it the right way and make sure that he's one of our guys. Make sure that he roll on to Sacramento good, confident, and go turn that thing around, because ultimately it's one of our guys, and we want to see him do well. And to help jumpstart that's always the hope.
Dre, Steph was, looked like he was struggling mightily throughout most of this game. Did you expect a fourth quarter turn up, and what did you see from his game?
I'm not so much thinking man, it's he's going to turn up in the fourth quarter. You're just constantly he'll get going, and sure enough he did. And down the stretch we went to one play, pretty much the whole entire fourth quarter, and he took the game over. And that's our guy. That's why he is who he is. It's only a matter of time. I think some of the shots he was missing in the first half were great looks. And so, you let a guy get some open looks and he miss them, at some point they're going to start going down. And, he knew exactly what he wanted to get to. He knew the matchups he wanted. And, he put us all in position and dominated the quarter. And, that's why we're sitting here moving on to the Western Conference Finals.
There was 2 times late in the fourth quarter where the fans started chanting "Whoop that trick." What was that like for you guys, especially after Game 5?
It was good to see the fans embrace that. You enjoy that, because, like I said, no one knows how it feels to go into an opposing arena and everybody's at your neck, and so to see our fans embrace it and kind of get them a little taste of their own medicine, it was good.
never